Everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at some of the top stocks that were in play today. Okay, so first up we're going to take a look at Snap, S-N-A-P. Yeah, the huge move today, closed up 47%, so congrats to everybody. I know we had some people in the chat that were trading options, and yeah, there were some big winners today, so yeah, congrats, way to trade everybody. Currently RSI is at 83, so it is at very overbought levels. As you can see, this is the daily chart, and this is the entire history of trading for Snap. You know, it started back in March of 2017 was the start of trading, and then as you can see, this is the highest level on the RSI in the history of the company. And then if you look at Fasto, you can see here it's hitting 94, and this is a level where it's hit previous tops. Okay, so if you look at the spikes, if you go down and look at the candles, you will see that's it's signaled these levels on RSI and Fasto, signal that the chart is very frothy. If you look at plus DI here, look how that's in a straight line. It's almost completely vertical. That is an unsustainable move. The more vertical plus DI gets, the more parabolic the move is, and the less sustainable the move is. So this is signaling that the candles are likely to work back into the bands. Today's candle is floating above, or formed above the upper Bollinger Band. You can see the upper Bollinger Band's down here at 1733, and then you have the EMA 4 at 1663 as the first support level on a pullback. So if the candles do work back into the bands, you want to see that EMA 4 hold, and then that's also the high close level from back here in October. So 16 is going to be a big support level on a pullback. If it can push further, push higher tomorrow, then you're looking at this close here at 22 from May, and then you've got the high close up here at 23 and 24 from back in March and May as well. And so the all-time high close is all the way up here at 27. So to the upside, if it was able to close above 27, that would be an all-time high close. And then, to get into blue sky breakout territory, just to take it that far, it would have to get above 29.50. That's the all-time high. So this is a super strong move. Notice that this red line here, there was a break above that level. That's the 200-day simple moving average at 1580. That's the top moving average on the daily chart, and that level needs to turn into support to head higher. So you want to see that hold as well on a pullback. Notice there was a giant volume spike today, and this is following multiple green candles. So this could be the climax spike. Keep in mind there's a lot of bearish pressure in the markets, and it's always a good idea to take profits when they are on the table, when we're in this type of market where runs are being attacked. And so if you look here, it's also a parabolic spike on MACD on both time frames. There was a parabolic SAR bullish flip as well today. So super sweet move for SNAP. If you look here at the weekly chart, now you can see the weekly chart's at 66 on RSI, so it's not quite to that 70. Fasto is at 94, so it's temporarily overbought. Keep in mind this week's candle will not set until the closing bell on Friday. Notice the giant volume spike this week. This week's candle is busting through that upper Bollinger Band currently at 1815. So many times if it does close above, a lot of times you'll get the candles working back into the bands. Okay, so this is kind of smoothing out the data from the daily chart and making it easier to read. You can see the key resistance levels here, the 21, 24, and then you've got the high close up here on the weekly chart at 27. So currently it's this 21, 25 level hitting May resistance. Yeah, and then 23. So the weekly chart is also signaling that this is a very parabolic move, and that the candles could cool down and work back into the bands. What you want to do is follow the intraday charts, and this 15-minute chart here is showing the key level to break. That's the closing price here at 230. So basically the 21 resistance level. If it can get above that level, that's going to signal it wants to head higher. So tomorrow above 21 for Snap is going to signal upside potential, and then if it drops below 20, that is currently the middle Bollinger Band at 1986 on the 15-minute chart. If it drops below 20, that's going to signal downside risk. So above 21 signals upside potential, below 20 signals downside risk. If it drops down and it hits that lower Bollinger Band and busts below, it could drop all the way down to that 50 simple moving average down here at 1692. Okay, let's take a look at Twitter. So TWTR, yeah, this is I don't know if it's quietly or not, but it seems quiet. I don't know if I'm not seeing a whole lot of coverage on this move, but this is a very strong move for Twitter. Okay, so at RSI at 63, it still has room to run until overbought levels. Notice on previous runs, it has been able to get above 70. already. So there is still some gas in the tank. Even though RSI or Fasto at 92 is signaling temporary overbought, the RSI is showing that it could push through resistance here. All right, so we have plus DI crossing over ADX, so that's a bullish crossover. That's signaling the chart's heating up. And so this closing price, we're going to call it 21, it's 27. It's a little bit above 27. That is the big level to break. It's the closing price on the first trading day in February. If you see a close above that level and it turns into support, that's going to signal it wants to head higher. So tomorrow that level is going to get tested. If it fails to break above 27 resistance, it could form a double top at that level and pull back. You want to see 26 support hold. That's EMA4. So keep an eye on Twitter. It's really heating up here. If you look at the weekly chart for Twitter, you can see where it's hitting. That this is the big resistance level. So 27 was the resistance level on the daily chart, but it's also the resistance level on the weekly chart. Notice this red line here. The 200 week simple moving average at 27.08 needs to close above that level for the week to head higher. If it fails to break 27, this could signal the temporary top. If it can get above, then you're looking for a potential run up here to this October 2015 high close, which is at about 31. That would be the next target, and then you've got 36. Turning that 200-week simple moving average into support would signal that this strong uptrend that's been happening, since the middle Bollinger Band turned into support back here in October is still intact. Fail to break resistance, and this could be the temporary top. Okay, take a look at Weight Watchers, WTW. Huge move today, all right? So the markets have been under pressure, but Weight Watchers is breaking out. Keep in mind that these stocks that I just showed are optionable, and so, the options were up big today. So people making big money trading options. And if you look here, there's a crossover on plus DI. So now we have the plus DI above ADX. There was a big breakout today above high close resistance, which is always a big sign that there's more upside potential. So this closing price here on the 23rd was the key level to break. That close above today is signaling more upside. Notice today's candle did bust through that upper Bollinger Band. The candles pull back. You want to see this high close turn into support. You want to see it stay above 68 and keep riding EMA4 at 67.47. Notice the giant volume spike down there. There was a MACD bull cross on the 8, 13, and 5, and then the 12, 26, and 9 MACD is currently pinched. Notice there was also a parabolic star bullish flip. So the chart is super heating up. When a stock's breaking out, it's good to look at the weekly or monthly chart to find the next resistance levels. And this chart here is showing what needs to break next. As you can see, the jar has filled here. Back in 2011, it hit a top up here. It's looking at like around 75 or so. It's kind of hard to read over here. And then it pulled back, and then it came back and hit that level again in 2012. And then failing to break that 75 resistance zone, signaled the top. It double topped, and then it pulled all the way back below $5. And now after hitting the low in 2015 and having Oprah jump on board, this thing has been a freight train, and now it's ran all the way back up to 75. So the jar is filled, okay? So this is right there, okay? So another dollar in this thing is totally filled back up to 2011, 2012 resistance levels. It has to break above and turn that level into support to head higher. This is the huge resistance zone, okay? So it could top out here at 75 and go sideways like it has in the past. So keep that in mind. This month's candle will not set until the closing bell on the last trading day of the month. What needs to happen is it needs to close above the highest close back here in 2011 and then turn that level into support to keep pushing higher. Notice the super strong uptrend. The candles have been riding EMA4 support on this monthly chart all the way since back here in the beginning of 2017, end of 2016. And when that's happening, the signal is just to keep riding. This was a great stock just to ride for a long-term swing trade. This was a super big winner this year in 2017. So take a look at UVXY. So yeah, it's up 22%. It's forming an indecision candle today. I wanted to show you this chart so you can see the next key resistance levels to break. As you can see here, this is basically a doji that formed. This had the big run up. It hit above that 200-day simple moving average at 26.75 and then pulled back. And then today a doji formed. What needs to happen is EMA4 at 17 needs to hold. If you see it drop below 17, that's going to be a signal it's cooling down, and you could see it run back down to that 1450 zone and test that 100-day simple moving average. If it can hold on to to 17 and keep pushing higher, hold that EMA 4, then it could head back up to that 200-day simple moving average. That will be the big level to break. If it could close above the 200-day simple moving average, then you're talking about the 300-day simple moving average way up there at 54. If it if the candles do work back into the bands and EMA 4 support breaks, that's going to be your big sign that this volatility is finally cooling down. Okay, take a look at the 15-minute chart for UVXY. Okay, so it topped out yesterday and then it pulled back, and then notice the break below the green line here yesterday. So that's the 50 simple moving average. That level was support or resistance today, and so it has to break above 1980 to head higher. If it stays below that green line, that's going to signal downside risk. Right now, it's trying to hold on to the 100 simple moving average at 1736. If that level fails to hold and the middle Bollinger Band at 1710, that's going to be your signal. Okay, the chart's broken and it's consolidating, and that's when you can see the drop down to the 200 and 300 simple moving averages down here in this 13 to 14 support zone. So yeah, it has to break that 1920 resistance zone, fail to do so, and fail to hold that 17 support, and you're looking at a drop down to 13 or 14. If you look at TVIX, okay, so this is a very similar chart to UVXY. You can see here it hit that 200-day simple moving average and pulled back. Today you've got the doji with the indecision candle. What's going to happen here? It's going to be all about EMA 4 at 867. If it can hold that level, then it could keep pushing higher. If it drops down like it did today and keeps bouncing off of that 100-day simple moving average, the chart is still super strong. That's at 790. If you get a close below the 100-day simple moving average, that's going to be your signal it's cooling down, and then it could drop down to test that middle Bollinger Band and 50-day simple moving average down at 6. If those levels hold, then the big level to break is going to be that 200-day simple moving average at 1458. Okay, let's take a look at Intel. So Intel, had that big pullback, and then it had the nice bounce yesterday, and it closed right below the 50-day simple moving average yesterday at 4493. And then today there was a nice close above that level. So it closed above, but intraday it had broke above 4 key resistance levels, the middle Bollinger Band and EMAs 4, 8, and 13. It failed to close above those levels and pulled back. The bears were really strong. They shorted that rally. They let it pop and run, and then they attacked it end of day. That kind of happened across the board. FANG stocks were under pressure. Yesterday everybody got sucked back into technology, and today they shorted it. Countless people said that they were buying Apple yesterday, and it was the most down of the stocks today. So if you of the big board FANG stocks. So if you look at that, they're attacking whatever is running right now, and so we need to see sustained runs to get a reversal going. So it has to happen here. It has to close above EMA's 8 and 13, and so that's going to put it up there at 4590 is the big level. So basically 46. So above 46 for Intel is going to signal that it has more upside potential. If it fails to get above that 45 to 46 zone, and then it fails to hold the 50 simple moving average, that's when you're going to signal, okay, it could possibly start a new downtrend here. If that middle Bollinger Band fails to turn into support, fails to hold here and continues being resistance, that's going to signal that 100-day simple moving average down at 43 is on deck. If you look at the 15-minute chart, you can see it has this symmetrical triangle looking pattern going on right now. You have the ascending support and descending resistance. Notice it has the top here, and then it's trying to hold this 100-day simple moving average, which it closed below today at 45.59, and then you have the middle Bollinger Band at 45.79. Those are two big levels. It has to get above both those levels for the chart to heat back up again, and then it's going to be all about breaking the high close resistance level from today, that 46 zone, and then the big moving averages on this chart are up here at the 200 and 300 simple moving averages, basically 47. It has to get above 47 to break out higher. If it struggles with 45, 46, you're gonna see the 50 simple moving average hold. The only way that Intel still remains bullish here in this chart, especially after the red flag getting back below that 100 and middle Bollinger Band, which is the 20 simple moving average, the chart is breaking down here, and the last line of defense is this green line. If it drops back below the green line, 44.89, the bears are back in control. Notice it closed on a big volume spike, a big red volume spike. So they're attacking hard right now. Okay, look at CPST, closed up 28%. I'm gonna give you a couple of small caps real quick to finish this off, and I'll just go over these quickly. This thing broke out above this descending resistance line, a multi-month descending resistance line, and above all these moving averages. Today's candle did bust through that upper Bollinger Band at 865. You know, if the candles work back into the bands, you want to see that 100-day simple moving average at 832 hold. If they can hold it and push higher, that's going to signal that this chart is strong. There's a new uptrend beginning. There was a PSR bull flip. Notice this 90 zone from November was huge resistance. It did close above that. It needs to stay above 90. If it drops below 90 tomorrow, that's going to signal consolidation. It's not ready to go. If it holds 90, then we're looking for a run up here to $1. Okay, so that's this resistance here. And if it gets above $1, then you have the high close in October up here around 116. Notice there was a big volume spike today, and there were MACD bull crosses on both time frames. So that chart's really heating up. Take a look at DRYS. Okay, so this closed up 26% today. You know, you have RSI now at 52. The chart's trying to heat up. You know, you've got bullish crossovers, fast toe above 80. It had the big gap open today. Okay, so anytime a stock like DRYS that's known for dilution has a big gap, that's a major red flag. They like to pull back and fill gaps. So it's at some point in time, this is guaranteed. I mean, you can almost guarantee it would be a freaking miracle if it didn't pull back and fill this gap. But at some point, it's going to drop down to 290 and fill that gap down there. And so right now, what's going on is it's trying to break resistance. See, between the high of day yesterday and low of day today, there's a space. That's an unfilled gap. It needs to break above the 50-day simple moving average. And so our motto is there are no bad stocks, only bad entry and exit points. So if it does close above this 50-day simple moving average, that will put DRYS in play. And you know, this thing does get running sometimes, so we're keeping an eye on it. If it fails to break that 370 and then fails to hold that middle Bollinger Band at 350, that's going to signal more downside risk and the continuation of this previous downtrend. If it could turn these levels into support, it could get an uptrend going. Okay, take a look at BSPM. It closed up 26% today. I made a nice move. It has this nice steady uptrend going. You know, it's a thinly traded stock. It had the tight Bollinger Bands. It got above all the moving averages. So it's currently trading above all the moving averages, riding EMA's 4 and 8 support higher. It doesn't get any more bullish on the daily chart. So this is a strong chart. And then today it closed above resistance. It just needs to keep on doing that, making higher highs and higher lows, and you know, holding the EMA's 4 and 8. You know, now that it closed above the upper Bollinger Band, it might pull back in there. You know, you want to see EMA 4, EMA 8 hold, and just keep making higher highs. It would be best if it could stay above the closing price here on February 3rd. That's the big level to hold. If it can keep the uptrend going, it could retrace back up to 6. Okay, let's look at RMGN. This is the last one. Thinly traded stock, closed up 32% today. Only 600,000 shares traded. It did close above 54 on RSI, so the chart's heating up. You want to see Fasto get above 50. You know, this is a super thinly traded stock, but it did close above the middle Bollinger Band and above this 50-day simple moving average today. It had been riding EMA 4 resistance lower, and so today that break above EMA's 4, 8, and 13, and the 50-day simple moving average and the 20-day simple moving average, which is the middle Bollinger Band, those are all clues that the chart is heating up. So in order to stay in play, it has to stay above 105. Drop below 105, no longer in play. If 105 holds, the next target is the 100-day simple moving average at 132. Get above 132, and you're looking at this closing price on the 11th and 160 as the big level to break. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please check us out and our chat to learn more about charts and technical analysis. I will post the link below the video. Okay, thank you.